The night was cold, the city soaked in rain, and Mark didn't plan to be anyone's hero that evening. He was just a single dad, tired after a long shift, clutching a paper bag of groceries and a phone with 10 missed calls from his daughter's babysitter. But when he saw his boss, Ms. Evelyn Hart, the woman who ruled the office with iron confidence, stumbling toward a group of men in a dark alley behind the bar, something inside him refused to walk away. That one decision, to step forward instead of pretending not to see, would change both their lives forever. Because the next morning, when Evelyn showed up at work, she didn't pretend to forget. And that was the beginning of everything neither of them expected. Mark Reynolds was a man stretched thin by life. His mornings began before sunrise, packing his daughter Lily's school lunch, making coffee that never seemed strong enough, then rushing to his job as a maintenance technician at Hart and Vale Enterprises. It wasn't glamorous, but it was steady. He needed steady. Ever since Lily's mother walked out 2 years ago, Mark had been both father and mother, protector and provider. His boss, Evelyn Hart, was the kind of woman who commanded rooms just by walking into them. Sharp, focused, beautiful, and, as most employees whispered, unreachable. She had no time for small talk, no patience for mistakes. Mark respected her, but he also feared her. To him, she was the type of person who lived in a world of luxury, far removed from his world of secondhand coats and unpaid bills. That Friday night, Mark's shift ended late. He'd stayed behind to fix a jammed elevator, a problem Evelyn herself had complained about earlier that day. As he left the building, he noticed her luxury car parked crookedly near the curb. Odd. She never left it there. Then, as he turned down a side street to cut across the block, he saw her. Evelyn was alone, swaying slightly as rain matted her dark hair to her face. She was trying to wave off 2 men who seemed far too interested in her condition. The way they leaned in, the way she stepped back, it wasn't right. Mark's instincts kicked in. He dropped the grocery bag, cans rolling across the pavement, and rushed over. Hey, everything okay here? His voice was steady but loud enough to break the moment. The men turned, their smirks fading as they saw his broad frame and the determination in his eyes. One muttered something under his breath and backed off. The other hesitated, then followed. Evelyn blinked at him, unsteady. Mark. Yeah, it's me. Let's get you home, Ms. Hart. I'm fine, she muttered, but her voice cracked. He guided her to the car, shielding her from the rain. She shivered, the alcohol mixing with exhaustion. When he asked for her keys, she hesitated before finally handing them over. He drove her home silently, the city lights streaking across the windshield. When they reached her apartment, she mumbled, "You shouldn't see this part of me." He smiled softly. Everyone has bad nights, Ms. Hart. Even bosses. She looked at him for a long time, as if seeing him for the first time. Then, with a tired sigh, she whispered, "Thank you, Mark," and disappeared inside. He stood there for a moment, dripping wet, wondering why her words felt heavier than they should. He didn't know that the woman who never remembered anyone's name would remember that night forever. Mark tried to pretend nothing had happened. He clocked in the next morning like always, fixing lights, checking reports, avoiding eye contact. He didn't expect her to mention it. People like Evelyn didn't like to show vulnerability, especially not to their employees. But when he entered the office to deliver maintenance forms, she was already waiting. "Mark," she said, her voice softer than usual, "can you close the door?" He froze. This was it. Maybe she'd fire him for seeing her like that. "I wanted to talk about last night," she began, eyes steady. "You helped me. You didn't have to." He shrugged awkwardly. "You were in trouble. I couldn't just walk away." Evelyn looked at him for a moment that stretched too long. Then she said something that surprised him. "I don't want to pretend it didn't happen. I've been losing myself lately. You reminded me that people still care, even when they have every reason not to." Mark didn't know what to say. No one ever saw him that way, not as someone who could change a person's life. Just a single dad trying to get by. Over the next few weeks, things shifted. Evelyn started stopping by the maintenance area more often. At first, it was for work-related reasons, but slowly, conversations grew warmer. She asked about Lily, about how he managed everything alone. And for the first time in a long time, someone listened. One Friday evening, she invited him and Lily to a company family event. Mark hesitated, but Lily's excitement convinced him. At the event, Evelyn surprised everyone by sitting beside them, not with the executives. She played with Lily, laughed, really laughed, and looked at Mark with a gentleness no one had ever seen in her eyes before. That night, as he drove Lily home, she said, "Dad, Miss Evelyn looks at you the way Mom used to, when she was still happy." Mark's chest tightened. He didn't know what this was, but he knew it mattered. Weeks turned into months. Their connection deepened, built not on money or status, but on understanding. Evelyn saw in Mark the strength she'd lost in herself, the courage to be kind, even when life wasn't. And Mark saw in her the woman beneath the armor, fragile, real, and brave enough to start over. One late evening, after helping Lily with her homework, he found Evelyn waiting outside his building. She smiled nervously. "I just came to say thank you again," she said. "Not for that night. For everything after. For reminding me who I could be." He smiled back. "And thank you for letting me believe I was more than just the janitor who fixed your elevator." She laughed softly, and for the first time, the distance between their worlds disappeared. As the city lights shimmered behind them, they stood quietly, two people who had saved each other in different ways. Because sometimes, the smallest act of kindness can rewrite two lives forever.